Hello to the chicos and the chicas. Game analysis from live stream. Our client today is the legendary Loon Boss playing in the white trunks against his opponent in the black trunks. I received information earlier which I forgot about time control. I think it was 90-30. And the rating of the players will be shared with me in the stream momentarily. C5, knight c3. So, thank you, Whimsical. Our protagonist appears to be a fan of the South African Western Province League B team. We still don't know the ratings of the players. And we are in some kind of a closed / Grand Prix Sicilian. E5 is fine here. Knight f3 is also okay. Yeah, either or. And bishop b5 check is a very Grand Prix-esque move here. Your unrated opponent is 1600 OTP. Right, but you are about 2100 rapid, yeah? Okay, so are you a Grand Prix player or was it meant to be close Sicilian? Grand Prix for sure, because if you were a close Sicilianista, you would play g3 here. Okay, so then bishop b5 check is something you should consider here, buddy. It's a very common move. Yeah, I thought so. Generally a move that Grand Prix players like to throw in the d5 structures. Disturbance incoming. I'm streaming, sweetheart.
I know.
But you thought that you would barge in anyway. You are a trooper. Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of recording for YouTube, so how about if we resume this chat a bit in a moment? Yeah. Yeah, sounds good? Yeah. Alright. Love you, kiddo. Yeah. Okay, so bishop d7, and then you trade it. And the reason why this trade is actually preferable for white is for two reasons. One, if you don't do this, you will struggle with finding a good square for the bishop. That's one very important thing. Second, it's actually, at the moment, it looks like this is the bad bishop and this is the good one. But the funny thing is that the pawn structure is very likely to change by pushing the pawn into d4 when this bishop becomes bad and the other one would have been quite decent. So it's not necessarily trading into a bad bishop. Whimsical, I recognize your name. I'm pretty sure that either you leave regularly comments on YouTube or... Yeah, as soon as I saw that, I'm like, I know that guy. But thanks for the kind comments. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. So yeah, this is a logical path to follow. So we went e5. I'm not a big fan of this structure for white because I am used to playing proper French where I have a pawn on d4 as well. And so I feel a little bit weird whenever I am in this. Okay, bishop b5 now. That still makes sense. Oh, no. This is no bueno. Okay, so we take. We played... Oh, man. No. Friend, like, you are violating the #1 positional concept here. Oh, boy. Oh, this really hurts. Like, this d4 move is really a positional blunder, no less. So, is this clear to you at all after the game why this was so bad? I'm gonna explain it anyway, but I'm curious to know if you understood what was so wrong with this. Unrated versus 1600 over the board moves. I should have added it to the study. How can I do that? Details. Actually, I will do that. White player rating... Unrated. Black player 1600. Watch this as it happens. Oh, baby! Okay, but the unrated doesn't show up, so it only accepts numbers by the looks of things. Why does it not accept 0? How about none? No? Okay, what about 1000? Okay, I will go with 1000, but it's inaccurate. Anyway, okay, so here is the story. Double pawns are often bad, are often good. Whether they are good or bad is very difficult to just determined by just, oh, double pawns bad kind of thinking. You need to understand the structure and what's going on in the structure. Now, one good thing about double c pawns in similar structures is that if white has a pawn on d4, you get to play c5, which already has been played. You trade, and you play c5 again. So it feels like you had 2 pawns for the same purpose. And now, no matter where you retreat the queen, you went back to d3. Black dominates the entirety of the center, has flexible pawns in the center, and has the 2 bishops. Strategically speaking, with a slight exaggeration, you are lost here. Now, this is what we should not be doing at all. And by the way, since you are playing against the bishop pair, your objective is to keep the position as closed as possible. Closed positions in chess by default mean avoiding pawn trades and try to clog up the pawn structure like this. When we are avoiding friction, we are avoiding tension, and we push past. And so the correct method to play against this, with the idea of shutting down both bishops for good, is that you play a move like d3. I'm going to play a couple of weird moves for black here just to demonstrate the idea. Then you play a move like b3. Then you put the knight on a4, and then you play pawn c4. This whole entire scheme that you see on the board was already developed to perfection by Nimzovich back in the Stone Age of chess, right? And strategically speaking, white is completely winning here because both bishops are entombed behind fixed pawns. And on top of that, white has a super easy target to pick on in shape of the c5 pawn, which will be coming under fire from bishop a3, often a queen t2, then queen f2. If the queen moves away, then queen a5, and you just pile up on this guy and it's gone. d3 c4 does not have the bishop pair. I don't understand how it ever would. And by the way, if you meant that after d3, you mean d3 c4 here, how is that a move? Like I just take, yeah? And now 700 isolated pawns and easy targets. This looks miserable for black. And note again, by the way, that this bishop is red hot garbage. So this is a textbook case when double pawns are really, really bad. Because they are isolated, they are super easy to target, and they don't represent any value whatsoever. So c4 would never ever occur to any player because it just makes no sense, really. The only, actually, sorry, I take that back. There is a very common pawn sacrifice idea which goes with c4 and then push this and then push this, because this way, at the cost of a pawn, we manage to crank open the long diagonal. This is a common theme of this pawn structure. And I have seen many famous Grandmaster games being decided to black's favor with this trick. That is genuinely existing. It's not good here, because it's too soon. But this is the only one that you should consider as a real pawn break from black's end. d4 was, yeah, it's irreparably bad. Let's move on. Take, take. Yeah. Okay, I'm not a huge fan of g6, but it's not a biggie either. It shuts down all kinds of f5 breaks. Knight f3, yep. Bishop g7. I dislike this move a lot, because I don't think that the bishop should go to this way. I think the bishop should come out this way. But I don't want to criticize your opponent's play too much. If I was playing this with black, I would have played here h5, knight h6, knight f5, bishop here, bishop here. This is a full kingside blockade to ensure that you don't get this or some h3, g4 ideas, which I can just shut down with h4. And then black is gonna go knight here, bishop here, bishop here. That's optimal piece placement for black. Bishop on g7 is terrible. It's biting into granite here. Yep, castles is okay. 97, yep, makes sense. Bishop d2 kind of makes sense. The other thing that I wanted to tell you, that by placing the bishop on g7, black has been neglecting this pawn here. And so here knight a4 is screaming at us, because what you want to do is to provoke the c4 push, which would create a bucket load of very, very vulnerable dark squares, which now black can't contest, because the bishop is on holidays. It's actually a wall, to be honest. So now you just go queen e3 or queen d4, not sure which, and then you have got beautiful squares for the knight and beautiful diagonals for the bishop as well. Really sexy stuff, actually. Yeah, bishop d2 is a half move that I really, really don't like seeing when my students make moves like this. Because the premise here is that, oh, I developed the bishop. Well, you didn't. You moved it. It's not developed. It has just moved. Now, on the plus side, that connects the rocks. But on the downside, it's utterly misplaced. So where would the bishop stand best? Probably on a3. Yeah, b3, bishop a3. So I play b3, knight a4, bishop a3. And again, I have a target, I have a meaningful diagonal. Opposed to, I have a bishop on d2, and that's all I can say. Okay, bishop d7. a4. What? What does that do? It's quite insane that you play this, and it struck me as very, very ugly. And it's the engine's top choice. Which is not a way for me to approve of it, by the way. Because I don't understand it, so you need to explain to me why you did this. Hey, Alan Kiwi, and hey, Forlan, by the way. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, I don't understand a4. I'm sorry. I'm a bit slow, so you guys need to update me on this. I wanted to work on a6 as a weakness. Wow! Okay, now you need to tell me, young man, a fair bit about this working on a6 as a weakness. First of all, how is this weak? Second of all, how on earth are you gonna... What? Like, if I give you unlimited number of moves, I'm attacking on the queen side and his pieces are on the king's. I still don't understand. What do you mean that you are attacking? Attacking what? How? Where? When? I don't get this. Explain to me, please, what your next 5 moves would be if black didn't make a single move. Yeah, I know that, but you might as well have said that I'm just earning now $7 million, and I would be like, okay, how exactly is this earning $7 million? Like, there had to be a reason why the motion of I'm attacking on the queen side went through your head. So I want to know what exactly went through your head. And I'm also asking you to once again, tell me, 5 moves. You have 5 moves back to back for white. You can't take a piece, but you can tell me what your plan is. No, you didn't come up with a plan. You played a move. That's not a plan. A plan is a sequence of moves that enable you to make progress. Right? So if you want me to, I can model you a plan and what that would look like. So if my plan in this position is to attack the c5 pawn, then the plan is b3, bishop a3, knight a4. Right? That is a sequence of moves without including black moves in the equation whatsoever. None. Just a sequence of my moves that I would like to play if I could. That is what we call a plan in chess. And then, and that's the real test of the pudding, when you come up with a plan, then you need to start calculating and figure out how feasible the plan is, because we must reckon with the fact that it's not always our turn. They will play moves, and guess what? They don't want our plan to succeed. So then you go like, okay, so I play b3. How can they rain on my parry? Let's say they castle. That's regular. Bishop a3, queen c7, knight a4. Going well. This plan looks good. So I do it. So now, hopefully for the last time, but I'm insisting on provoking and pushing and prodding, I want you to tell me what you wanted to follow a4 up with. I mean, the game will tell me, but I want to know what went through here, not in the game. And whilst I'm waiting for your answer, I will just continue with the game. Wait. Yeah, a4. Castles, knight e2. Will this be on YouTube? Potentially. So I already see a massive disconnect between this and this move. So I don't get what's happening. And again, by the way, one of the top engine moves is knight e2. And again, I don't care. Because if I don't understand, and if you don't understand why you did what you did, then it doesn't matter if you get the approval or not. You can't count it as a great idea. But I don't understand how a4 is attacking the queen side, and then it's quickly followed up by knight e2, which is moving a piece away from the queen side to the king side. Whoa, okay, here, hang on. This is getting exciting. So you said rook fb1, get the knight out of the way. Blundered again. Thank you, buddy. Someone has to be the chess coach of the internet. It's going on YouTube. Well, someone has to be the chess coach of the internet. Rook b1, knight e2, knight e can go to d4. No, it cannot because it's under attack. If they ever play c4. Now, here we have a ginormous fly in the ointment, friend. Right? And that big fly in your ointment is, but I will read through. And then I'm eventually getting my knight to b5. How? If they ever push a5. Okay, so there are two things in this whole train of thoughts that is fundamentally flawed. And in fact, it's the same thing. You just did it twice. And you really, really need to listen to this carefully, because this will reshape how you think about plans in chess. You say, you go rook fb1 next. Actually, I will just play a blah move for black. And then you are saying, and if they play c4, I will have the d4 square for the knight. Great. And what if they don't? Because that's not in your control, not based on the moves you are telling me. Likewise, you are telling me that once that happens, assume it does, then we are going to get the b5 square if they play a5. And what if they don't? Why would they? Is it in their interest to play a5? No. Would you play a5 if you were black? No. So why would they do that? They are not there to do favors to you. They are there to mess with you. And I don't even want to go there that actually a5 is a totally fine move here, because knight b5 gets chopped off, right? But the thing is that your thought process is fundamentally relying on moves that black has no intention of doing, and equally importantly, you have no ways of forcing. Because if you could say that, and I'm gonna force c4, and thus gaining the control of the d4 square, happy days. But can you? I mean, technically you can, by the way, by playing for b4, but there was no mention of that in the plan. Also, I would like to highlight to you that if you want to play on the queen side, I think the only meaningful way to do so is to play against the c5 pawn. But that's just repeating what I was saying before. So let's go. Queen c7, rook d1. Look, I don't want to get hung up on every single move you play, but if I was coaching you, I would be giving you, well, not grief, but I would be repeating again the same torturous questioning of, Why there? What's the plan? What are you doing? What's the follow-up? But to be fair to you, you have ended up in a very clearly inferior position, which is first and foremost inferior exactly because white is so utterly planless and it's so mighty difficult to fix. And by fix, I mean to make it plannable or give white some direction. So I feel for you because I am really pushing you in a position where there was no obvious plan to go for. The structure didn't allow you to find an obvious plan. And frankly, I don't know what I would do here if I were white. I really do not. Maybe b3 just to solidify the structure, but yeah, it's hard to tell. So I'm going to move on because I'm curious how this game develops. Rook a2. Okay, so this, if you ask any chess player what they think about a move like rook a2, they are not going to tell you almost all of, well, a lot of chess players, higher rated chess players, when you ask them what they think about rook a2, they will tell you exactly what I'm gonna tell you. It's ugly. And ugly in general, especially in my chess coaching jargon, is often a harsher punishment than saying it's bad. Right? Because, well, not necessarily harsher, in some ways perhaps more educational, because something that is so repulsive you tend not to do ever again once you understand why it's so ugly. Now, rooks like to be on the back rank and they like to be connected, right? The only exception to that is when we double up, when we stack up on stuff that we can attack. But rook on a2 has one job and one job only, and that is to guard the pawn on b2. Now that is really, really messed up. First and foremost is because the general principle that you like to apply in such cases is that whenever you are defending stuff, you always want to allocate the least valuable piece to guard stuff, especially if said stuff is pawns. Right? You don't want to use big value pieces to defend little value. Right? You want to use little value to defend little value. So what you do is like, rook b2 is threatened. Fine. b3. No problemo. And then the pawn representing little value is defended by a fellow little value, which entirely frees up the rook to do whatever you please to do. And again, your comment, as much as I hate to tell you this, is very, very, very concerning because it goes, my thoughts were rook a2 would lead to being able to double when these pawns eventually move. How am I going to ever remove these two pawns, friend? Like, how do you ever picture a scenario where these pawns disappear? Which is virtually the only way how this could make sense. Or in fact, sorry, I will take that back. The removal of your a pawn would justify doubling up. So how do you picture the a4 ever being removed from the board? Like, it's a virtual impossibility. As a matter of fact, if I had to place a bet on which file is the least likely to be fully opened up, meaning no pawns left, my bet would be that the a1 is almost the least likely to open up. Because you have no pawn to take on the b file with your pawn. And this pawn making it to b5 is a very unlikely scenario. And you are asking me, but wouldn't b3 provoke c4? Yeah, it would. But we already agreed that once c4 is pushed, all of these delicious dark squares become yours, in particular the d4 one. So now you are just sidestepping it like a trooper. And happy days. The pawn is pinned. And next you are going to drop a giant knight on d4. And that is a sensational position. Yeah, nah, trust me on this one. Like, and then you move B and C, and then you can move, like, no. Big fat no, because it's none of this is your plan. You are putting the cart before the horse now. You need to play B3, keep the pawns together, and then figure out where we are going next. Not misplacing a rook, and then trying to fix it by playing unnecessary pawn moves. And even here, by the way, like, and now what? Like, why? I don't understand why now, not that we can do this because it's hanging, why would this rook be good? So, yeah, nah, rook a2, complete mishap. Bishop c8. I'm guessing your opponent wants a5, bishop a6, which is weird, but we will let this slide. Yeah, c4. Okay. Right. I guess it is a way to break the center. I'm not excited because I'm worried that we're opening it up for the opponent. But this is, once again, it was a very, very nasty position to be in. Now, a5 seems to allow us to maybe plug it in on b5. Yeah, if I were black, I would have just played bishop b7. And then queen c6 and then d4. Yeah, different story altogether, blundered again. But yeah, here. Okay, knight c3 played, great. Bishop a6. Knight b5 played, great. Queen d8. Okay. Bishop e1. Okay, I get that. Rook b7. Okay, oh man, why are we going... Now finally we have some direction to follow. Like right now, for the first time in this game, in my head, I see the correct square for every single piece I have. And in my head, it looks like this. The bishop is best placed on h4, and this rook will need to come to d2. So actually now, I'm going to make your bad move work. Not happily, but I'm going to make it happen. So I play b3. That allows my rook to come here, and then bishop h4. And for the first time in this game, almost every piece you possess is on a very good or acceptable square. That never happened ever since you played pawn d4. At no point in this game did we have pieces on optimal squares all over the shop. Now we are very, very close to having everybody on good squares. And then comes the ultimate rookie mistake of which way are we going? Backwards. Which way are we never meant to go in chess? Backwards. Now you just completely messed up the rook move. You messed up the b3 rook d2 idea. It just... And I don't understand the move to begin with. Like, where are we going? I don't understand the purpose, first and foremost. Like, c4 is guarded. And in fact, b3 is the best way to bolster it because you want to retake with pawn, not with piece. Yeah, this was very strange, this 92 move. Very ugly. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense now. Yeah, and you managed to self-pin yourself too, by the way. Okay, now knight d6 looks to me like a chess move, no? To block off the d file. Hello? I would play knight d6 here, that's for sure. And now these pawns are really vulnerable. Yeah, I'm not threatening to take yet, because after bishop takes knight takes we are pinned. But I'm certainly threatening to take the rook, and I'm going to play this with the idea of threatening that. And all of a sudden, these pawns, like I said, are really exposed. I find this to be a bit too passive. Okay. Okay. Okay, this is pretty decent game still. Rook A1. Like, no major tactical blunders to speak of, which is quite impressive. Like, yeah, I just said that. Right on cue. Tactical blunder. Bishop takes, knight takes, yeah. Hard position though, but rook c2 had to be played to keep everything together. This must have been some sort of miscalculation. Ooh, not taking on b5 twice. Knight d2 was loose. Yeah, it is loose. That's why you need to play rook c2. You didn't miscalculate that at all. You perfectly saw that. That's exactly why we need to play rook c2, so that knight e1 doesn't win the knight. No, you did not have to lose an exchange here. But your opponent is playing some shady moves. Yeah, now we are falling apart. And your opponent is playing some crafty moves. A good old one move cheapo never gets too old, right? Rook a4. Man. Oh, bishop b4 is the plan. Okay. I take it back. Makes sense. Yeah, decent chess is played. Ooh. That almost feels like you're walking into some mating net. Yeah, he's now playing for h4. Nasty. I will show this to the crowd and to YouTube that he g4 would have been met by the spectacular rook h5 mate. Yeah, what you're trying to do is totally fine. The reason why I stopped critiquing and commenting is because you're dead lost. So there is no point for me to, you know, continually beating the dead horse. H3 was game over here. I don't know why you didn't do that. Wow, King H2 almost draws the game. Wow, man, check this out. And then knight d6 and you pick off f7. Oops. Oops, oops. Hey, Acid, how are you, buddy? Yeah, now you're allowed the h pawn to run again. Yeah, c4 was a big waste of time. Yeah, it's all over. I mean, I don't understand. Rook f5, you can just get a queen, right? Like, there is one check here, or check here, check here, check, king d7, and it's over. Zapjazz, good morning. Yeah, rook f5 was royally weird. And then he realized that there was... What? Oh my god. Wait a tick. So now check here. Check here. Check here. Rook b8 check. Wait, what am I missing? Rook b8, king here, rook check. Oh, and then if king d8, you have knight d6 check. Knight f7, knight d6 perpetual. Oh my god, guys, check this out. That is insane. Check here, check. King here, and now not check here, but knight f7. And it's a very famous motif of perpetual check. Check. And if they go that way, then check. And if they go that way, you continue the harassment with the rook. And if king here, then rook check. And if king here, then knight f7. And that's a perpetual. Saki super, welcome in. Wow, that's insane. And that's how the game ended. Oh my god, man. Well, I tell you what though, buddy. I gave you a lot of grief, but you are an absolute fair dinkum hero to save this game. What an absolute escape. Wow. Bruh, I would need to put a hat on so that I can take my hat off to you. Hat off. No, I don't want to turn the engine on. I do that on purpose. It's a very anti-climatic, anti-catactic, anti-everything thing that the engine is constantly spitting crap into your face. I prefer figuring it out myself. And even though I do have the engine on when I run the analysis, I prefer if you guys don't see it because it prevents you from thinking for yourself. It's a really, really bad habit and bad influence to constantly rely on and constantly having it in your face. Trust me, I do you a favor that I don't show the engine. Loonboss, you should not agree draws at all. To offer draws in a position where you have a perpetual check that you see that it's unstoppable. There's absolutely no point in doing that because if they recognize it's a draw, they will offer it to you. Until they don't recognize it's a draw, it doesn't matter what you do, they are not going to accept it. In fact, by you offering the draw, you almost communicate a level of uncertainty whether you can actually draw it or not. Because it's already drawn the board. And by the way, it's illegal to offer draws more than... like you can't offer draws continually. I think the rule is, but I haven't checked on this for a fair while now, is that you can offer a draw every 15 moves. So if you offer a draw on move 1, your next chance is move 16. Because it counts as poor sportsmanship. And once again, I find it counterintuitive here to do it because, like I said, in order to make a draw out of this, they need to see it's a draw. They're not going to believe it's a draw by listening to your offer. Blundered again. Can you teach us openings today? I've got so many beautiful chessable courses, man, where I'm teaching you the most amazing openings. I mean, we can talk some some openings, but that would be the least effective way to use me. You can't call the... that's also another pitfall that you should never fall into. The arbiter is not going to take care of your draw for you. You need to. Actually, the Catalan Gambit is in my D4 course, Griffus. Yeah, you need to learn how to claim a draw. If you don't know the rules of how to claim a draw, the arbiter is just gonna go like, oh, don't know about this, buddy. But then again, your opponent shouldn't be, accommodating any kind of mishappening when we are repeating the same position 700 times. Yeah. Anyway, thank you very much for this game submission. I really, really enjoyed this. I need to tell you though one thing. I would really like to see at least another game from you because this one was a real pain for you to play because the middle game structure was so immensely difficult to navigate for white that it was inevitable that it would derail. So I still don't exactly have necessarily a good picture about your strengths and weaknesses, although you seem to be a fine calculator. Yeah, I would like to see another game from you. But that's enough for now. Thanks everyone for watching this. If it makes it to YouTube, thank you guys. Don't forget to sub, to like, to super. Thank if you can, and I will be back with more soon. Bye.